All right, and we are live. Happy May 4th. Welcome to the stream, everyone. Uh, Excited to be here this morning with Visnu and Mike. What do we say? We're joining the data side. I think I'm responsible for most of the terrible puns. I don't know if I should own up to that.
Well, I'm still new here, so I'm still learning how to do puns that are just as terrible as yours.
Nice.
If I knew enough about Star Wars, I'd make a joke about like being your young
How
trainee
do,
that learns things from you.
what do we call that, Visnu?
Padawan.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So we have our our resident Star Wars expert on staff is has prepared a wonderful data set for us. Actually, it's gonna be really cool to dig into. Um, do you want to start by talking about that? We have a lot of cool stuff I think to talk about today, but I think we should start with the celebration of May the 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just jump right into this data. What kind of data this is?
Yeah, I think that sets the stage, right? The scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I spent too much time recently preparing this from scripts over the past week. So like Ian said, I'm a relatively large Star Wars fan, probably, and Star Trek fan. If I mess up and say the other things, then don't yell at me. Um, but let's see. So I grabbed the scripts off of Internet Movie Script Database here, and just parsed them manually-ish. So there's a notebook if you want to kind of grab this data too. It's at visnup/Star Wars scripts. All of these source scripts are here as file attachments. But ultimately, kind of.
And I'll be popping those links in the chat as we go, so it's already there.
So if you want, you can see that all of this is kind of parsed out into a more usable, digestible form to kind of see what's going on and just pull out more entertaining things. So in here's things like the characters. These are pretty normalized character names because like so Obi-Wan's credited as Ben in the episode 4 script, which is pretty entertaining. But I've switched all of that to Obi-Wan no matter what. So across all of the scripts, he's named Obi-Wan. The actual line of dialogue, any kind of proper nouns that are in here, which is just done through the capitalization of the thing, throwing out kind of stop words, common stop words. Scenes are parsed out. So this specific line was spoken on the Death Star in a hallway leading to the main forward bay. It's an interior shot. And then kind of just the raw lines that are out of the script, if you need to get to it. This I is actually an index from episode 1 through 7. So I didn't find a good source for 8 and 9, which is Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, but 1 through 7 I have, and then the episode in one indexed form. So there's all of the dialogue, there's all of the action in each scene or each kind of like thing. So actually I should have probably looked at a script so that people can see what a script looks like. But I mean, I'll let you extrapolate. So this is all the dialogue, sorry. So all the action is also here. And the action's also interesting. So we'll see. Is there one from, we'll just use this one. So action descriptions are like interspersed in dialogue. And they just kind of tell you what's happening in the scene, sometimes more colorfully than others. So something like Leia tries to remain calm versus an Imperial soldier appears, or I don't know, slowly, hesitantly, Luke removes the mask from his father's face. So all of these are also parsed. Again, all of these nouns have been pulled out and normalized. So if there's some kind of rename happening, it would be in the normalized form. If I can attribute the action to a character, which is basically the first proper noun that exists in here and is a meaningful character, kind of, that's been pulled out. So this is specifically for like Chewie and R2, because they don't have spoken dialogue. So I wanted to get some like line representation in here for them. Again, the scene, raw, episode, all that's the same. So that's what's in here. And
Nice.
we can do whatever we want.
Yes. Well, I mean, and that will bring us to the second thing we want to talk about. But first, I mean, like Mike, you know the value of like a clean data set, right? Like how much of our work as data visualizers is actually this, like the unsung work that Visnu did, parsing the raw data into something that we can actually, visualize.
Oh, it is all of the thankless labor. We're going to spend these few minutes talking about it, and then now we get to go make some cool stuff with it. But of course, without knowing how to parse this and prepare it, we wouldn't be able to engage with it. And I'm going to go ahead and put a quick link to a library that I've been using a lot recently called TidyJS, put together by Peter Bishai, which helps those of us who are familiar with data wrangling in R apply those same sorts of data transformational verbs to your data sets in JavaScript, which I think gives you a sort of cleaner, easier to follow process than just iterating through arrays of arrays of arrays. So maybe we'll get to play around with some of that today too.
Nice, nice. And then speaking of handy libraries for working with data, something that I'm super stoked about today is that we get to use Observable plot. So we actually just announced this morning. The team's been working on it for a few months now. We've been preparing, some materials, and it's been really, really, really hard not to like scream from the rooftops about this. So I'm super excited and a little bit nervous to play with this here on stream today, to be honest. But it's gonna be, well, if it's anything like all the notebooks I've been making behind closed doors, I think it's gonna be like really, really fun. And yeah, I mean, maybe we should say a few words about what it actually is and what it does for us. But it's, thanks for putting the links in the chat. So I'd highly recommend checking out this notebook and the following. There's a lot of documentation and a lot of examples already. But it's basically a new library for doing data viz on the web. One way to think about it is like, I guess it lets you focus on quickly visualizing. We want to make the process of data visualization just a little bit easier and faster. And I hope that comes through in the stream today as we play with it. I guess there's a lot of things we could say about it, but they've been written down, and I really want to like dig into this data set. So I don't know. What do you?
Let's go.
Let's
go for a show don't tell, Ian.
Yeah.
Let's show the people what it can do.
All right, and since we have this really excellent and rich data set right here, we can get started. So, Visnu, we have a notebook. Like you have started this notebook where you've imported the data set from your data processing thing, right? So we import the data there.
Yep.
Now you've shared this notebook with
12,000 lines.
with Mike and myself, so we're also able to edit it. So I should be able to come in here and say something like plot is observable HQ plot, and it's so one thing to keep in mind is this is a 0.1 release, it's beta release, and we're hoping to get feedback from folks. So hopefully, as you see us use it, you go and try it out. You let us know what you think. There's certainly things that we know we want to add. There's a GitHub repository with issues and all that good stuff. But there's a lot in here I think that's pretty great already. So hopefully we can utilize some of that. Now, all right, so everyone can see that I required it from NPM. And getting started, I see Visnu's already typing tick X, which I thought might happen because if you've heard anything Visnu said in the past is that we don't aggregate, or aggregate as little as possible, right? So there's 12,000 ticks. I mean, that's a good start.
It's a lot of ticks. Looks like a bar, but it's really 12,000 lines drawn all on top of each other.
Yeah. So let's see what.
Let's try this.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Whoa.
Alright. That's not that horrible. Not that bad.
I'm gonna add something. I'm just gonna configure the plot to make it take the full width at least. Give us a few more pixels. So one thing that's interesting that I'm like really like about plot is that every step of the way you see something. It's kind of like I like to say it's hard to break. Like you can certainly get something you don't expect or try for something and not get what you hoped for, but it generally shows you something. So here we can see that like a lot through all these 12,000 things, different characters have more lines, I guess. Lines are actions, and it's a little too much to actually make sense of right now. But we could do more to this plot to get it. Like one thing, one way we could look at it is probably filter down to a single movie. Might be one thing, unless you had a different.
Sure.
One of you guys had a different thing you want to try next.
Sure. Actually, do you know what the auto height thing is? Do you know how to engage auto height?
Oh, it is engaged. It's just that I think
Ah,
it's giving you.
It's just tight.
Yeah, it's just really tight.
Is there a
So
way
if
to
you
set
just
the
set the
band
height, one thing to do is just like not think too much. Okay, that's
Alright,
so
just making
like,
sure.
I'm just gonna manually set the height to be a lot more pixels,
fine.
so you can start reading it.
Dark.
Um,
On.
and then maybe
Layer.
give the margin on the left a little bit more space.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Ah, Qui-Gon. Oh, by the way, spoiler warning, just in case, I don't know, you haven't seen any of these movies. There's going to be spoilers most likely throughout all of this.
Yes.
Okay,
And
so
Visnu, before you go on, could you just
Yep.
specify what our horizontal axis is here? Sort of as you
Right.
read from left to right, are we within minutes of a movie, lines
we're
in the
just in
script?
index. So it's hard to say line. Let's say like it's just index of the thing parsed out. So it can be like a section, or it can be a dialogue line, or it can be a scene header, or it can be the like there could be multiple action lines. So it's kind of either a paragraph of action, but it's just indexed into this data array.
Okay, but it would correspond to sort of the place within a script. So the
Yeah.
further you
Yeah.
move along a certain axis, the deeper
Yep.
you are into a script.
Yep.
So we can go ahead and maybe I'll add that as a nice little label here.
So let's see, observable inputs, observable HQ inputs. So let's filter to a specific episode. So just this. Let's just type this out. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Label. So episode, great. And then filter, just filter.
Yeah.
All right. So this is what, episode
And
1?
I might
Yeah.
take the height off, or just comment it out for a second.
Cool.
So now the auto height is a bit more reasonable.
So let's go to everyone's. Let's just go to 4. Jump to 4. Maybe sort this by like kind of character occurrence.
Yeah, that's typically a good thing to do.
Yeah. As Ian's doing that, for those of you just jumping on, what Visnu was able to do was expose that number into a value of a cell called episode with that view of just above here, so that whenever that drop-down menu is switched, we're changing which episode we're seeing. That number is then used in the filter to change the data that populates the chart. And of course, with the reactive notebook that we're using here, that will automatically repopulate. We don't have to worry about triggering any sort of event handlers there.
Sweet.
So,
Ordered characters.
yeah, actually, the one. Well, we could use maybe Mike. You want to use Tidy for this? I've gotten in the habit of using
Ooh.
D3, and I think we could use either. So it'd be kind of cool to do both, actually.
Yeah, let's try both out. I'm still not incredibly well versed in it, but we'll give this a shot.
So all I'm
Wait,
doing.
can I give a?
Hmm.
I'm gonna drop a random pro tip that people might not realize. So again, since we're using our next editor, so we have Prettier as an optional command, like keyboard shortcut. So if I were to do something like this, or let me mess it up a little bit. So there's like a Shift Option F on the Mac. We'll run Prettier on it for fans of Prettier.
Awesome. That is nice because I end up manually doing that.
Yeah.
All right, so I have a list of ordered characters, and if I want to sort the plot by that, because right now we want to sort the y-axis, we can tell the y-axis to use the ordered characters as its domain. So this probably deserves a little bit of explanation of what plot's doing for us, right? Like we could take a second to look
Something
at
seems
this.
wrong, by the way.
Huh? Does it?
Something seems wrong. Yeah. Oh,
I'm
wait, did you sort by?
counting.
Sorry, what did you sort by? Oh, you're counting. Never mind. You're
Count.
correct.
Yeah.
You're correct. That is correct now.
And then I think it should still work if we do. Yeah, it should all be flowing from the different episodes.
So Luke talks the most,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Right. So just a quick note on like getting oriented with the plot API, right? Like we have this plot.tickx, which is a mark, and maybe I will start dropping some links in the channel, or actually there's a handy collection of notebooks that you can use to look at these different concepts. One of the first notebooks is marks. And so these are intended to be kind of like geometric things, like the marks you want to make on the paper, right? So like a tick is like a line. If we change tick x to dot x, we'd get little circles, right? Which, you know, ticks make a little more sense for this type of thing that we're doing right now. The marks, there's a variety of them, but you know, the ones you'd expect: rectangles of various sorts, circles. You can do lines, that kind of good stuff. But then plot has these sort of channels, right? So there's things that you almost always want to use, like the X channel or the Y channel is the axes that you're mapping to. So like each of the marks will do stuff with what you put into the channels. So you put the data in, and in this case we're putting in a couple column, like we're saying we want the Y value of every data point to be driven by the character. And we're just telling plot, like, we want the character property of that object, right? If we look at this, each of these has a character. Sometimes it's undefined. Okay, oh, where's some not undefined? Okay, here we go, 3PO. And so what plot's actually doing is it's creating, one of the, I think, really nice things about plot is it has really thoughtful defaults. Like, it does a lot for you if you don't tell it what you want. And you can always tell it what you want more explicitly, like we do here, and I'll explain that in a second. But it's seeing like, oh, you passed me in a bunch of these characters. They're typically strings, so I'm going to make an ordinal scale like this, right, on the y-axis, where it's going to space everything out evenly for each unique element in that data set. But the I is a number, so this scale is actually more a continuous scale. So the x scale gets generated, and it gives us an x position based on that index. And so if you're used to Vega Lite, the API is a bit different structure, but you would do similar things, right? You'd say, I want this data to be on X and this on Y. or D3, you'd have to do it a little more manually and like render the DOM elements and tell them exactly, you know, what you want the scale to be and how to use it. So yeah, that's kind of this in a nutshell. And then yeah, you can override aspects of the automatic scales and give it, for instance, the domain. So what we're saying is, here's a list of unique characters, but in a particular order, and the order is something I calculated down here, or I guess you can't see my screen, but the ordered characters where I was counting up, you know, I was grouping together all the instances of characters and then counting how many show up. Yeah, the negative is, I guess it's ascending, the sort is ascending by default, so when you take the negative.
Yeah, just to see better on the screen, I'm going to go ascending.
Ah, actually, that's cool, yes. Because it's closer to your code, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then I kind of want to show, so title is another interesting attribute. And so here I'm pulling out lines. So this for dialogue, it'll show up. If I happen to hit dialogue in here. Oh, there's one. There was one for a second. But then I did want to show off that like, so this can be a string, or it can also easily just be a function. So here I can say it's either description or line. And then both of those now work. So now if I hover over like some random action here, I think here. So that's action. Luke's eyes are wide. Versus maybe I'll hit dialogue in here somewhere. Yeah. So that's just a cool. So this is a shorthand, right? This string here. So this is kind of a shorthand for this. It's the exact same thing, or yeah, you can just use a string. All right, so what else? Do we want to talk about any other random plot things that we just did? or
I think we should just try another view, you know, like one of the interesting things is just to try looking at it in different ways and maybe use different API things available to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could we maybe start with sort of a motivating question rather than just, you know, pull out different functionalities here? I think Visnu, we can either start with an informed question for someone who knows a lot about the area, or maybe something simpler from Ian or I of not really knowing the domain, trying to ask a simpler question and then answer it using plot.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, there's always the go-to question. I think people always ask, like, who talks the most? I think we've kind of answered that a little bit. We could do interesting things of character co-occurrences in the chat. Yes, because we have the scene data, we could do that. We can at least infer kind of the character co-occurrences within scenes. Might take a little bit of doing, although not nearly impossible at all.
Yeah, I mean, there's the calculating the co-occurrences and then the rendering of it, right?
Yeah. Yep. So both of those should be relatively easy. Well, I mean, each step of that is not trivial, but not impossible. We could reuse the Le Miserable view, that like matrix. But yes, I would. I don't know if I want to attempt that right now. But I would encourage everybody to. We could try. I don't know.
What about rather than something that we would need to do a lot more data preparation? If we're interested in co-occurrences, we could look at characters and locations, right? Who is where?
Yeah. We can look at like characters, locations. We could look at characters referring to other characters because the nouns are parsed out of each thing. So in lines, since the nouns are there, you can kind of see what nouns people are using. You could do word clouds, of course. We could look at who has long sentences, who has short sentences, or long and short dialogue. We could do, I don't know, we could kind of do a lot of stuff.
You said a lot of things. I think that two things kind of, so if we answer the most simple question, we should be able to answer the most simple question quickly, right? So who talks the
Yep.
most, and we have done it in a sort of disaggregated way, but maybe we should try
Yep.
a
Just
quick
direct.
aggregation, right?
Yeah.
So we
Yeah, yeah,
get
yeah,
like
yeah.
a bar chart of how many lines, and you know, we can play with like lines and actions, that kind of thing, and then from there we could say, okay, well, we can count lines, but then we want to do something a little bit more, like you said. We want to see like how much, you know, if we use like the length of the lines as some kind of proxy,
Yep.
that would be like a slightly deeper.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to do this transform for me because I never
Yeah,
the
yeah,
syntax for transform I don't have down in any way.
sure. I've been practicing. It's pretty interesting. So we want a bar. We're gonna have a bar chart of who talks the most. So I'll start typing in here. So basically, we can use a group, and this is where things are a little interesting. We're gonna do a couple of things. We're going to use this group Y. So these Y's and X's are helping us, and actually let me pull up the documentation just so I don't say it wrong. And I'll put this in the chat as well, because this is what I'm about to use, the group thing. I'll get to these X's and Y's in a second. The nice thing about transformations is that you tell it what you want the output channels to be. So we want our bar X, which means it's like it goes in the bars get bigger and smaller on the X-axis, right? Like they're going to be sort of similar to this. It's like if we like stacked all these ticks together. So then our X is going to be based on, we're just going to use a count. So we tell it like, we want you to group on the character, which is the y-axis, and I think this is going to do it. Yeah. So this, of course, it gives us a lot of things, and it's not ordered, so we'll do a similar thing. But we're saying for every character, count up the number of, I guess, data points, and use that as the X value. Okay, now you're filtering it to dialogue. Cool. And then I think if we also do the Y domain to ordered characters, then we get that, and we'll want to do a little bit of margin left to make space for stuff.
Nice.
And we have ourselves a simple little plot.
Yeah, so you'll see what's kind of interesting about this data is, yeah, like Chewbacca and R2 don't have any spoken dialogue, but they're at least here because you used ordered characters.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I see we're getting more ideas in the chat. We'll catch up those in a second.
Bag of words.
Yeah. All right, so that's the dialogue. Actually, we could just switch that to action real quick, right? And we would see.
Oh yeah.
Like where all the action is. And yeah, we see that R2 has more actions, and Chewbacca sort of like stand out a little bit.
Yeah, but of course Luke still has the most action.
You know what would be interesting to do is so here's another thing that I think is a habit that's fun and good to get into with plot, is instead of continuously changing the same plot, like just copy and paste and make a new one.
Oh, right,
So
right.
I make a new one, same thing, right? And instead of filtering on action or dialogue, I want to stack.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm getting bold here. So I think if I say plot dot stack x, then I need to add another closing thing here. Well, okay, you know what? That's too bold for me right now. I'm going to do something a little easier, but just as what I think is awesome is faceting. So with faceting, you can say like, okay, I want two charts. I want one that's actions and one that's dialogue, right? So I'm going to split the x into those two things. And what did you say was type? Is that what you were checking when you're filtering? Oh, I guess there's, yeah, action, dialogue, and scene, but scene does not have characters, so I guess that makes sense. So now we can see, and I don't know if I do like a grid makes it a little easier to follow. So yeah, we can see stuff like Luke, or relative. The red leader has a lot more dialogue than action.
No, now I just want like XY scatter plot.
Ah, okay. Well, let's do that. What would you do for an XY scatter plot?
So like X is count of dialogue, Y is count of action, and dot is where the character is.
What do
Is
you mean,
that
where the character is? The scene?
So group by character, 2 dimensions. X or Y is count of dialogue. The other one's count of action. And so they're somewhere in that 2D space of action versus dialogue.
Ah, okay. So this will be. Oh, we'd have to.
Yeah, is that aggregation you can do inside of the plot function, or is that something we would want to do outside?
I think you could do. Yes, we should be able to do this. Because we're counting, you're saying like how many actions they have?
Yep.
Yeah, we should be able
like
to do, I think, a group. Let's find out.
Yeah, so we're, just to restate that, we've got the original text that has each one of these lines that we've parsed, and each one of those lines is classified as either an action, a scene, or a dialogue. And we want to count for each character how many action lines there are versus how many scene lines there are, and plot those against one another. So each point would represent a character's total number of actions or scenes.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Now, Ian, write that down in code.
Yeah. I'm certainly confusing myself thinking about it as we talk about it, because I want it's in one, or the channel would be one thing, right? It would be the type, but really, I kind of want to say like.
I of course know how to do this. Probably in Vega Lite. Maybe I don't. And then Mike's gonna go down the just transform the data.
I'm trying to.
And I'm just gonna watch. Maybe show off my Lego Star Wars models.
There's a. It's in the. I think the overview.
I want to half say that I'm excited for the Bad Batch that's starting today on Disney. Both of you are deep in thought, and I'm just excited about what's happening in the Star Wars media universe.
Sorry, so we want
Ghost. It's the Ghost. All right.
I think I need this data structure to be a little bit different. Ian, maybe this can help you.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to reshape this. We've got, because we need one column essentially for character, and then the total number of actions and the total number of scenes. This is going to stretch my tidy options.
While you both are doing that, I'm just going to show off my Star Wars Legos here.
Nice.
Great.
Let's start with just like a nice Millennium Falcon. This is a custom model that I did not design in any way. I just found this online. Who's the designer? MK Fatty or something like that? So there's a whole interior here. So one, these are all to scale. So if I throw this up, and I don't know, it's on a Y-wing here. So these are actually to scale, which is kind of cool. They're on like micro scale, so if you're tight for space, you'll still have room for these. Where did I open it? Oh no, I took off the engines. If anyone's a fan of Rebels, Star Wars Rebels, there's the Ghost, and then the Phantom comes off the back, which is also pretty cool. Little micro Phantom. Also with a full interior. I can keep going. Nice B-wing here.
Oh, meanwhile, we've got a scatter plot that showed up.
Rebel ship that shows up in Rogue One. Rebel ship that shows up in Rogue One. So well, there's a U-wing, by the way. This is the Rogue One ship. It also actually, this is very fragile, but it actually converts to it's like this form. This form. This is pretty cool. If anyone's also a very hardcore Lego fan, and you see this connection here, this is actually a legal connection. You can't actually do this with Lego. There's sadly some tape on the inside here because you can't actually make that connection in Lego. What else do I got? I got a whole slew of TIE fighters here.
Oh, the sound effects too. You really do it all.
I've gotten I know how to do the TIE sound effects now, which is like the weird scream. It's kind of creepy scream. All right, where are we?
So I think I did figure something out. I may have to check with the authorities if I'm missing something. But basically, actually, I can get rid of this. I think. Yeah, I think the thing is the scatterplot's not that interesting because most of the characters are tightly correlated. If they have very little dialogue, they have very little action. If they have a lot of dialogue, they have a lot of action. And I will.
Ian, I hate to throw a wrench in here, but we have different scatter plots.
Oh man.
Oh boy.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh boy. So
Mike,
someone's aggregation has gone sideways.
Mike's looks more believable.
Yeah. Now you're
Like this is a line. This is clearly just a x equal y line right here.
Yeah.
And this is like there's some difference. Yeah. Oh wow.
Actually,
Nice.
the other thing I notice is yeah. Oh man.
So
Very
then
nice,
yeah.
very
So
nice.
by character scene, it's character movie. So I'm wondering where, because like there should be some like 0, R2, and Chewie over here if you have zeros, but I feel like those got filtered out, Mike? Oh no, right there.
Yeah, so if it's
56.
0, it would be filtered out.
No!
Nice use of a table too.
Yeah, one of my very commonly used pieces here to actually just see the data.
All right. So yes, I think that I need to consult on the. I need to phone a friend or something for the double grouping, which almost works.
I do like the outlier of 3PO is pretty entertaining in that he talks a lot more than he does things.
Yeah, I mean, what's cool here is that we're seeing that there are different ways to attempt to separate our concerns, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can accomplish a lot within the context of plot, but it's also something where you can decouple the data preparation from the plotting. And if you are sort of more familiar in one area than the other, then you can get the data in the shape that you want before you put it into the plot commands. So I'm very new to plot. Ian has been elbow deep in that code for who knows how long. And for me, it was easier to sort of shift that out and just deal with sort of the basic plot commands.
Yeah, and what's cool is that you quickly are able to switch it from a dot to a text, and what I want to do is kind of show something off
with
with
them
that
both.
as well, which I think is super valuable, right? Because then it's like, oh, you saw a bunch of dots, but you want to know what they actually are. And of course, this is, leaves something to be desired. So I think if I say, I'm just gonna hack this real quick. But I think it's you got text anchor start. Yeah, I think.
Oh no, hold on.
And then it probably doesn't need to be 20. Yeah. So. Yeah, so that's really nice, right? It's like once you do have the data in a reliable way, you can just take quick looks at it. This is something I'll call out that we're working on a tooltip plugin, which would facilitate some exploration, but it is also this easy to just kind of start seeing things. You don't have to think too hard about it. Just change dots.
Yeah, and why don't we go ahead and republish this right now? So anyone who wants to see these changes in the notebook, now this should be refreshed. And I'll put the link back here in the chat.
Nice, thank you.
So, what else do we want to look at?
Yeah, or Ian, are there particular functionalities that I sort of went the question-driven route? Do you think we want to try and showcase any other functionalities that we haven't gotten to thus far?
Well, let's see. The question, well, I think we could keep asking more questions, see if we want to learn. So, I guess when we talked about the talk versus action, right? That came out of just seeing the bar charts of those things. If we wanted to see some more, I guess a metric like length of lines is.
I'm actually totally just doing that because I was curious myself.
Oh, okay. Well, there you have it. Nice. Okay. So you go into tick route again. This is sweet. So you get to see sort of the distribution of the length of lines.
What's the character object around?
Ordered characters.
What's that thing called?
And you want it for the
ordered
Y domain.
You're right. Do I have to say domain? Ordered characters? Is that right? Sweet. Okay. So it's like distribution of line length. But I kind of want lines split on. Let's assume that they're all. You know what? Let's always do this. Split on spaces. So words. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Ooh. Now you have something to group and bin. Or actually, we could have done it with the other one. I don't know. The other one might have been better. Just line length versus word length. So we could just go to, what is this? Like a dot x is, so yeah. So we'd still want we want to count each of these or bar them or something.
Wait, how do you do the pretty thing? Let me try that real quick. You said
it's like Shift Alt Option F, but then right now I think these are too short for it to care.
Oh, okay. Wait, so you're saying that you want to count things?
I want little bars here because we have overplotting right now, so all these circles are drawn on top of each other.
Ah, okay. Well, let's change to the other format so I can quickly do that for you. So one of the things people might have noticed is that you can just do plot dot whatever the mark and then call dot plot at the end. But the other thing you can do is give an array of marks, and that's essentially layers, right? So that this becomes the same thing. And if we wanted to draw something else with this, we would we could just do it as another mark. So you said you want bars? You want ticks or bars? What was it?
I don't know. Either
Let's
bars
try it.
or
Yeah.
larger circles.
Could we get like a histogram of line length for each character?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Interesting. Interesting. Let's try it. So a couple of things. So if we want a histogram, right, then we're going to say plot dot, I think it's rect y. So we want like little bar charts on each line, right?
Exactly.
All right. And then so I'm going to say, and this is still dialogue. And then, well, okay. I kind of want to do this in a different, I should copy paste this.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, so I go down here. I don't think it's going to matter if I do it in the same thing here. Although, yeah. All right, so dialogue. We could do a shortcut for that filter thing. And I want to bin on the x dimension.
Yep.
Where the y value that we want is going to be a sum, I guess, right? Like we're going to add up our count.
Lengths. It's counts right now. Yeah, because x is already going to be
Oops.
double.
I just typoed. And then it's not going to do anything yet. So the x of this thing is still the same as this. Right?
Yep.
And so that's going to give us a weird, we're mixing our domains here. We can't, let me just comment out this dot plot. So it's not going to be by character yet. All right, so there's a single histogram. Now, I think that the easiest way to do this actually would be to then facet by the character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So the data is, we want to pass it the same data. Do you think we could just make a...
Yeah, just pull out dialogue or something.
Yeah.
Is there a general term for dialogue where it could be monologue or dialogue?
Why?
Polylog? Multilog?
Ooh.
And then I think we can do the same thing. There's a FY is like the scale. So if we do ordered characters.
Spoken words, trialogue, nlog.
And there's other things we can do. I think if we say we don't want the y-axis and then
Ooh.
margin left. Probably doing like 150. Or is the margin? Sometimes I forget this. It's like that. Yeah, so that's not too shabby, right? This is kind of what you were hoping to see.
Yeah.
You can do, so on this thing, we got the bin. I think it's in here. You can set the inset. So, what is this?
How to get past the 0.5 thing that's going on?
I mean, it's just changing the, like, yeah, the spacing between them.
Yep.
So I believe there's an inset. It's on the facet. I can't remember this. Or it's a padding. It's also a ratio. Oh, what have I done?
I think I started typing.
Oh, okay.
And then you finished typing. But I think if you, yeah.
So does this, no. I forget the formatting options are actually probably, let me pull up the GitHub repo readme. And I'll put that in the chat. chat. Hoping VizConf family here.
Yeah, all sorts of people coming out of the woodwork for this morning's stream.
I'm just gonna switch my episode because I feel like it, just to look at other episodes.
Wow, I think as we're doing that, just to take a moment and sort of recapture what we've got here, is we have histograms of the number of words in each line for each character. Is that correct?
Yes.
So we've taken each line, split it in sort of the data processing there, and counted up how many times, how many words appear within that line. And then the bin X is taking that number and putting it along differently sized bins along the X-axis, so we can count how many fall in each one of those bins. So then looking at the chart, Luke, now we're looking at different different ones.
Oh yeah, sorry.
So,
I switched to. I feel like I'm in Empire Strikes Back right now.
Yeah. So Han has very few words per line. Lots of lines that have very few words, right? 2 or 7 words. And we can see that Yoda, for example, has some lines where there are lots and lots of words. There are 90, 100 words per line.
That seems like a parsing issue, maybe.
Right.
Now I'm curious.
Are you saying that data visualization helps you with understanding your data?
Data quality.
I gotta find those. Character is Yoda. It's only 57. Sort by a dot. What was this line? I was just gonna do total length, although that might not be. Which direction did that go? Let's go the other way. Other direction. So B minus A. Ready for the returning, like you are reckless. I guess it's a whole long. I guess it's here. See, that's not that long. How many words is that? Is that wrong?
What was it? What did you notice?
90 seems high is all. Uh-oh, what'd I do? 95? Are there 95 words in that?
Oh, which movie are you on?
I'm on Empire Strikes Back.
Which is
95 words in here. Oh, it's the, I don't know. It's where Vader is like,
no, but
Luke, I am your
episode 3?
father.
No, 4 or 5.
Episode 5. Ready are you? What do you know of ready? That's that one? That's 90 words? All right, fine. I'll take it.
Oh wow,
This
I
one.
see what you're saying.
You know ready for 800. Okay, yeah. Cool.
Nice. Look at that.
I guess that's 90 words. Parsing worked. Okay, cool. he has some of the longest lines in the movie. When I was actually looking at this, I was looking at the longest spoken lines of dialogue to make sure that I didn't somehow include action in with them, and there's some random, very long paragraphs of things, like speeches. All right, what else do we want to look at? I'm just gonna now switch through episodes because it's go to Force Awakens.
Nice.
Being radically different. So Rey and Finn. Kylo doesn't have much going on in here.
Yeah, we didn't. I noticed you colored by location at one point.
Oh, yeah, we haven't even looked at scenes.
Scenes, yeah.
But yeah, these are colored right now by kind of location. And I don't even know where these really are, but you can kind of see a scene change in the color here. I'm guessing yellow is, this is Rey and Finn, so this is like running around on Jakku. This is Millennium Falcon is the green right here. And then this is probably, is Maz? Where's Maz show up? I don't know where she is. Right here. No, this is when they're on Maz's planet all the way out here. So this is, they're running around on the Millennium Falcon in the middle here. Then they're on Maz's planet. Then, who knows, Starkiller Base is out here somewhere.
And for those of you who have not memorized the entire movies, the plot is working on a color legend feature that will be. I won't make any promises, but I know that it's being worked on, right, Ian?
That's
Who
right.
needs legends?
Yeah.
When you know your
When
data,
you
who
are
needs
a
legends?
legend,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Disney. Yeah. Nice. Well, I mean, we are kind of running up on the time for the stream, so I mean, we could think maybe we could do one more thing, um, and then wrap it up. I guess in a future stream I want to get into like time. There's a lot of cool stuff that Plot does for like time visualization and handling, but unfortunately we don't have like timestamps or anything. Let's see. Do we want? I mean, the scenes stuff. If we broke stuff down by scenes, we'd probably do like very similar to what we just did.
Yeah.
Now, if we did,
Also having. No, go ahead.
the other thing I was thinking is if we did do a quick like characters with other characters.
We could try that.
Yeah,
Let's
like
go.
if you want to just spend 5 minutes on it and see what happens, and then.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So how would we, like, in the data,
Okay.
if we look at, should we do dialogue? Just like leave it to, or do you want to have
Um,
action?
I would just grab any action or anything that has a character assigned to it.
Okay.
And so all of these scenes are they're just pointers. So you can do a triple equal to scene object being the same, I think. So if the scene object is the same, you can also scene that location is the same too. Although you want to go in, no, actually you want the object equality. So if you okay, what I'm talking about here is, let's look at, I don't know, I'm picking a random line. So there's a scene object. So this object right here is, so if you look at like 1, 2, 4 probably. So here, Bibble, which is like CO Bibble. I don't even know who this person is. They're in Naboo Palace throne room. So like the location's Naboo Palace. And there's going to be other scenes that use the same location, right? But not the exact kind of same thing. And so these two objects should be exactly the same. So 1, 2, 3, scene. Yeah, so like that would be exactly the same. But if we were to use like location, you're gonna get confused because of like ordering, and later on they might return to that scene or something, right? But they're not in the same scene together. So if you want exactly the same scene together, we can use this object equality.
Gotcha. So then, I mean, the naive way would just be like loop over the characters.
So ultimately, we're going for like characters, other characters, and counts, kind of. If we were thinking about that matrix, that co-occurrence matrix. So let's see. Yeah. Okay. Let's do this for all data. Let's see what happens if I just flow of thought do this. So for line of data, let's go over all data. And then we're going to go over, as we go, we want to count up. Okay, we're going to do something weird. We're going to use a weird map that the key is like a comma separated thing. Co-occur, I don't want to, it's called scenes. Okay, so for each line of data, if, actually all we want here are characters and scenes. So if character, so let's go ahead and put scenes dot. Should I use an object? I'm just gonna use an object. Sorry, no map. So a scene by this character. And turn scenes. So this is just a count of scenes by character, I think, maybe. Or just count of, sorry, this is just count of things by character. This is, yeah, things by character. So now we want to do scene co-occurrence. So let last scene. So as we go through, we have a character. This is where I need to actually concentrate. Oh, doing this with Tidy down below.
Yeah, I was trying to. I don't think there's a way to get every distinct character out, but maybe if I just group by them, we'll have a tighter list to iterate through.
So last scene, I want to be a. So I want the scene. What am I trying to do here? I want comma things. So how do I know which ones to put them into? So with all previous characters in this scene is what I want to build up. And then I want to reset it once scene is not equal to last scene. So if scene, so first, if scene not equal to last scene, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm making stuff up as I go. And then characters. Doesn't break, right? Great. Let's just care about only character things. This is the part of the stream where we're all just diligently coding.
I have some behind the scenes help from our friend Phil,
Back channeling.
who's teaching me about D3 pairs.
Ooh.
Oh.
So maybe this would be a.
Okay, and then it's for characters. So I'm going to get my self occurrence, which is fine. Okay, I think I did it. Maybe.
Whoa.
Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon. This is a little weird. Those should probably be the same. I don't go through. So you want like the last one? I need to like n square this somehow. This is like a weird other thing. I need to flip this for every single one. So this is no one judge me on the bad code, of course, because this is, the pressure, under pressure live coding. Did I just break it all? No. Okay, great. So there's gonna be like weird swaps. Okay, cool. That adds up now, maybe. But then this might get double counted. This is probably a double count. Maybe this is like directionally correct. I don't know if like the
Let's try it. Can
Yeah.
you
Sorry, Mike, I changed the name of that.
Oh, that's
It's
okay.
an E.
Also, I don't think I spelled currencies properly.
Yeah, that's why I changed it to an yeah, it's maybe even wrong. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's not the important part. The important, do you think, so you got an object, can we turn it into an array of like similar arrays? We want basically parallel things where it's like the first key is the first person.
Can you show me the shape
Yeah,
somewhere?
just above I have pairs, not pairs, the D3 co-occurrences,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and we can,
But we basically want character 1, character 2, and number, right?
yes, that'll make it easier to plot. And I'll include the people that are scenes of themselves. Because then, yeah, we should be able to say, we're going to have a cell, and we want to give if it's that set of an arrays, then we can use this sort of shorthand. We can say, like, the 0th key is the X, and the 1th key is the Y, and the fill would be
the 2.
I think so.
Yeah, so you should just be able to split on the comma for the key in this object. It should be fine.
That'll work for your D3 co-currencies, currencies. Oh,
what is this? What's
we
going
got
on?
something.
Yeah, we could do a couple of things.
I did this for data, so this should be like every character, which seems.
Oh, I did it for a movie. I did it filtered down.
Oh, okay.
So my scened thing is movies that have character and scene. So I could change it to data.
Yeah, switch it to
which
data.
makes it very small.
It's way more interesting as data.
But also hard to see. I guess we ordered characters is only based on the movie though. We wanted to sort them somehow.
I mean, I can switch that up right now, maybe? I don't know. I could break everything, too.
I mean, it's just unfortunate that we can't, like, iterate through two things and do, like, R2 and D2.
Oh,
it's like the closest I can get to a
wonderful. Oops.
We don't need that. Oh. We don't want that R anymore.
Oops, sorry.
I
think...
Yeah, okay, maybe go to movie. Maybe you're right. It's kind of hard to read.
Yeah,
although it's way more interesting this way.
Quick to switch.
Poof.
So this is the movie, so we're on 1. And then let's switch to, I don't know, let's just go to, everyone should know, be versed-ish in A New Hope. So, the OG movie, Luke, great, and Luke and Han, yeah. Luke talks to everyone. 3PO doesn't actually meet everyone. Vader, is this right? Vader and Wingman? That's not quite right. Oh wait, Vader in this direction. Oh wait, am I looking at the wrong Vader? Or is it just go? Okay, so this Vader direction's good.
What about the Death Star intercom voice? That's intriguing to me.
Oh, that's the one that announces like a countdown, like we are 2 minutes away from destroying the planet.
Hey, no spoilers.
Oh, sorry. We are 2 minutes away.
Well, we're 2 minutes away from ending the stream, I think. On a good note.
Oh, this grid amazingly helps. This grid is great. The grid lines.
Yeah, right? It's nice
Yeah.
little one-line thing. A lot of nice touches in plot.
Hold on. So I want other movies. Let's look at Force Awakens. Okay. Oh yeah, Rey and Finn, Rey and Han, Rey and Rey. So now, yeah, okay. Something's weird with counting, but whatever. That code was written all fast. Because you think Rey and Rey would be the most, but right now it's Rey and Finn, which also makes sense, but also doesn't in any way. Um, Bar. Akbar's in a scene with all these people. Great. Yeah, this is cool.
Nice. Well, shall we republish and share the link? People can take a look. Thanks again
And
to
they can
Phil
fix.
for helping with that co-occurrence.
How long did that co-occurrence broken version take?
I don't know, but I feel like you did great on this interview. I think.
Well, I feel like I perhaps stood to learn the most here as the least knowledgeable about plot and the least knowledgeable about Star Wars, and think we have really covered a lot of ground in both there, right? In terms of what we're able to discover about these plots of the movies, and then of course the plot of the recently released library, where we have a whole bunch of marks and different chart types that we're able to quickly explore this pretty rich data set.
Yeah, no, it was really great. It was as fun as I had hoped, and I'm excited to see what people do with this.
With plot, or with the data, or
With
both.
both, really.
And yeah, call out for this again is only the data for 1 through 7, episodes 1 through 7. I would love good versions of the scripts for 8 and 9 because those just have more things. More data is always better. So please, if you know of a script that I can parse, send it along.
Sorry, I had to just try to use your data. So there's some. I just switched it out to yours. I can't stop. It's addicting. Plot's addicting.
Can't stop.
So I guess.
Which data?
I just did a quick transformation of your object into the array format that.
Got it.
So if you switch those two lines, or we could actually just.
It's like
copy
the
paste
same.
this cell.
It looks the same. Oh wait, what am I looking at now?
No, sorry. There. If you scroll up and down, you'll see the difference.
So there's this one. Where's the other one? I'm lost.
Is there a way to jump to someone else in a notebook? Do we know this?
There might be soon. No, that goes to you. Okay.
Yeah.
There will be. We have it. It's in a pull request.
Right.
We have a version, kind of working version. What happened here? Oh man. Okay. I don't know what happened. Characters.add died. Characters is always a set. What happened? No.
While you're looking at that, I don't know if this was talking about the syncing with subtitle data, right? Which I believe you looked at, right, Visnu?
Yeah, like the subtitle data. So I was looking at subtitle data from Disney Plus. It doesn't. So subtitles generally don't include the character talking, and so it'll just have the text on screen. Only if they're off screen will it normally like prepend the character name so that like somebody's talking off screen. So it's hard to tell who's actually talking. You'll get all the text that's like the actual text in the movie, which is nice because these scripts actually contained either altered or original dialogue versus what either might have been ad-libbed in the movie or the scripts might contain deleted scenes also. So it'd be good to double check against the subtitle data, but it also gives you time indexes though. So you could actually add time indexes in if you were to take the subtitle data and cross it with the script data. You'll get timing information, which is pretty cool. So you could definitely augment with subtitle data.
So what you're saying is there's room for more data and more visualization here.
Of course.
Nice. Awesome. Well, I think this has been great. I don't know how many different views we ended up with right here, but it's quite a lot. Like a dozen in an hour. Not bad. Yeah, so I think we should call it. It's been
Quit while we're ahead.
quit while we're ahead. Yeah.
If that's
Well, I mean,
where
quit
so
before we
we're
start. Like, I'm just gonna keep making plots, and I think technically I'm, supposed to do other stuff soon. But I'd love to just keep doing this. What we're gonna have to do, we're gonna have more streams, right? We are planning to do that. Mike and I are actually going to teach a workshop on plot in a couple weeks. It's on the meetup. I should put a link in the chat.
Yeah.
And then I haven't even announced it on meetup. So y'all are the first.
I was gonna say, is it up yet?
The first to know. Tuned in here. And then what else should we share? Check out the documentation, the repo, leave feedback, give it a shot, and stay tuned. Yeah, we're gonna have more cool streams with ambassadors coming up as well, right? Doing all kinds of data viz. So, all right. Well, I want to thank everyone for tuning in, for chiming in the chat, giving us ideas, and distracting us as well. It's all part of the fun. Thank you, Mike, for your support, for showing us the tidy as well. I'm definitely going to be incorporating that in addition to plot. That's going to be great. And thank you, Visnu, for all your expertise and your hard labor in the data mines. Very much appreciated. So, with that, I think we'll say goodbye until next time. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming, everybody.
And signing off.